The selection of the Springbok backline ahead of the New Zealand test is extremely tricky. Does Rassie Erasmus go for the experience, or does he continue to back some of these younger players? I feel like this is the make or break selection for the Springboks against the All Blacks. If you're new around here, my name's Jordan. This is a South African based rugby channel. About 82% of you guys that watch this channel on a regular basis are not subscribed, so please hit that subscribe button, leave this video a like, and as always, drop your opinions down in the comments, because I'm not going to give you who I would select. I'm just going to paint the picture of what the different options are between the different players. So here are the options that Rassie Erasmus and the Springboks can go for in that first test against New Zealand. Scrum-offs, Kobus Reinach, Grant Williams, Jaden Hendrickse, who's come in for Morne van den Berg. Fly-offs, Handré Pollard, Manie Bok, and Sasha Feinberg and Gumazulu. And then you got Jesse Kriel, Damien de Lende, Andre Estes, and Lukhanyo for the centers. And then the outside backs, Kurt Lawrence, Apelele Fassi, Cheslin Colby, Willie Leroux, and Makazole Mapimpi, and Kanan Moody. Now, I think there's some very, very interesting selections that can be made here. Now, Rassie and the Springboks could go for the most experienced backline in the form of Kobus Reinach, Handré Pollard, Jesse Kriel, Damien de Lende, Kurt Lawrence, Cheslin Colby, and Willie Leroux. Now, that is pretty much the backline that won the 2023 Rugby World Cup final, bar Faf de Klerk. So it is a very, very experienced backline, and the last time we played against the All Blacks, they managed to get the job done. But with Tony Brown's new system being implemented and this new sort of style of rugby that the Springboks are going to try and play, is that the best option? We're really going to see in terms of the selection of the team whether Tony Brown's system is above the old system of the Springboks, because it's very easy for the Springboks to go back to their old ways and play a very forward dominant based game, which we still will do, but not play as much of attacking rugby. Look for territory, take the points when they're on offer. So it's going to be, I think the selection of the backline is going to paint the story of what the game plan is going to be for the Springboks against New Zealand. Now, you have Sasha Feinberg and Gumazulu there, who has started both tests against Australia. And I don't know if you guys remember, but in those videos, I said if Sasha starts that second test against Australia, then there's a very high likelihood that he's probably going to start against the All Blacks. Now, he has a good boot on him. Yes, Handré Pollard brings more experience, but Sasha fits more into that game plan, that Tony Brown game plan. So if we are really looking to test ourselves, test out Sasha, I don't think it's a bad idea to start Sasha. You've also got Manie Bok there, who could potentially also start, and then you have to have Sasha maybe start at 15 or Pollard at 12 to take over the kicking reins. I think if they do start Manie will have to kick, right? I don't think they're going to go into that thinking Manie Bok isn't going to kick for the Poles. I think it's the most unlikely option out of the fly-offs for Manie Bok to start again ahead of Handré Pollard and Sasha. So it is going to be very interesting. And then you got to think about, if you do play Sasha, who do you pair him up with in that number 9 position? Because do you start Grant Williams for, I think it's the first time he's been on the bench for both Australian tests. I think he was on the bench for Portugal, on the bench against Wales. So do you start Grant Williams, who hasn't started for the Springboks in a while, who's been doing a very good job of coming off the bench? Do you start Kobus Reinach, who's a little bit more experienced, who's had that game time with the Springboks in big games against New Zealand? He played in the semi-final and the quarters in the Rugby World Cup. So Kobus Reinach knows how to handle that pressure. Or does Rassie throw a complete curveball and start Jaden Hendrickse, which is very unlikely because he's coming back from an injury, and he had a very good game in the Currie Cup last week, but this is a whole nother level. We know that when the All Blacks play South Africa, they lift their game. And yes, they are wounded. Yes, they got beat at home by Argentina, but then you saw what they did to Argentina in that second test match. They absolutely obliterated them. So I think that 9 and 10 combination needs to be one that has been playing together for a while, which makes me not think that it's going to be Grant Williams and Handré Pollard. As much as I would like that, Grant Williams and Handré Pollard haven't really played together much. So you're probably looking at, if Handré Pollard starts, Kobus starts. If Sasha starts, then maybe Grant Williams starts. There's a couple of very interesting selections that could be made there. Let me know what you guys think in that number 9 and 10 position. We then move into the centers, and I think this is a little bit more clear cut. You got Jesse Kriel, Damien de Lende, Lukhanyo and Andre Esterhuizen. I don't see Andre Esterhuizen starting above Damien de Lende in that number 12 position. You also have to think Lukhanyo played number 12 for the Springboks against Australia in that second test. Could Lukhanyo fits into that number 12 position. Then you play Jesse Kriel outside him. I just don't know how likely that is going to be, just because I think they rested Damien Delende specifically for these 2 games against New Zealand. So it would surprise me a lot if Delende didn't start. And then, I do think Jesse Kriel is our best 13 at the moment, and arguably one of the best 13s in the world at the moment. His defense in that 13 channel is second to none. We saw him create that try for Curtly Arendse in that first test. So I think the centers are probably the most nailed down positions in the Springbok lineup, being Damien Delende and Jesse Kriel. But again, let me know who you guys think should be starting in those center positions. And then we look at the back 3. Now, again, there are a couple of talking points here, but do we really think Rassie Erasmus and the Springboks are going to stray away from Curtly Arendse and Cheslin Kolbe? Curtly showed us how good he was in that first test against Australia, scoring 2 tries. Cheslin Kolbe brings a different aspect to the game. He can slot in at scrum off. He even threw in a line-out ball in that first game. Cheslin Kolbe just hardly ever has a bad game. He's electric. Curtly Arendse is electric, and they can create something from nothing. But I think Makazole Mapimpi is putting a little bit of pressure on them. We saw him create that try for Fassi with that beautiful grubber kick. He just doesn't have a bad game in a Springbok top. However, I would be very, very surprised to see both Makazole Mapimpi and Kainan Moodie start this game. Moody's just coming back from injury. I think Rassie just wants to get him into the system again and feel what it's like to train with the Springboks after such a long injury. Yes, he has been playing some good rugby for the Bulls, but I just think it's very unlikely that Makazole Mapimpi and Kainan Moodie are chosen above Curtly and Cheslin in this game against New Zealand. Again, let me know who you think in the wingers positions. And then in that fullback position, it's tough because Willie le Roux didn't have a great game against Australia in the first test. I thought Fassi had a great game in that second test. Fassi is very, very good under the high ball and probably implements better into Tony Brown's system than Willie le Roux does. Now, Willie le Roux is a creator. That's what he does. I'm busy reading Rassie Erasmus's book, and Rassie says that Willie is one of those guys who takes more pleasure in creating a try than scoring a try. So a lot of the work that Willie le Roux does, we don't really see or don't notice because we only see the player who scores the try. We never remember who the last pass was by or who created the space or anything like that. So although Willie is getting older, he is approaching his 100th cap. Willie in a game like this against the All Blacks, I think, is invaluable. He's going to bring game management, especially if Sasha is playing at 10. He's going to give that game management. He's a very good tactical kicker. He makes a lot of the decisions in the backline, and he really orchestrates that backline a lot. So as much as I think Fassi has done a great job so far, and he has taken his opportunity, and we will continue to see Apelele Fassi in a Springbok top, I would be very surprised to see them stray away from Willie le Roux at 15. Again, let me know what you think. And then we have to decide if, let's say, Rassie goes for a 6-2 split, who are the 2 utility backs? Because you kind of have to think about that. If Grant Williams starts, Kobus Reinach will probably come off the bench and vice versa. If Sasha doesn't start, Sasha's an easy utility back to put on the bench who can play almost any position. And I don't know if we would play anyone else on the bench. I think it's going to be a scrum off and then probably a Mani Lebok or Sasha Fambo and Ngumazulu, depending on who starts. If Pollard doesn't start, Pollard will be on the bench. If Sasha doesn't start, Sasha will be on the bench, and then we'll have another scrum off. So those are my thoughts. There's a couple of very interesting options there. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. If you haven't, please hit that subscribe button, leave this video a like, and I'll see you guys in the next one for a big video tomorrow. Peace.